welcome to our Morning Throners podcast. I'm Nelson.
I'm Jeff.
I'm Glow.
And I'm Kyle.
And we're the fucking Morning Throners.
And welcome back to Morning Throners. Today we are going to be talking about Bran, the third Bran chapter, I believe?
I think it's 2.
Bran 2, my friends.
You can't count.
It's the big one. The big Bran one.
It's the big one. The big Bran one.
Meaning
and you
it's
know what
really
that
long.
means. You know, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. And with that, start off Nelson.
What a segue.
Yeah.
Well, we're not going to get to that yet, so that's a good segue, but we're going to the beginning of the
It's
chapter.
a good segue for the end of the episode. Yeah. That's all we got.
So, before the whole big thing at the end, Bran is chilling. He's watching everybody leave. They're going on a hunt because the king wants boar for the
Feast.
the going away feast. So there's like a weird cast of the weird crew going on this hunt. It's the king, Joffrey, Robb.
Is it really that weird?
Well, I guess the weird thing is Tyrion's there.
Tyrion's is...
Was he?
He's a lord. He's a lord.
Yeah, but he's a
Oh,
midget.
yeah.
Like, how useful could he be?
He could shoot a shit out of an
But
arrow.
but don't they
Bow
use
and arrow
He is a
style.
good crossbow.
But don't they use spears?
Don't they do flips and shit? And then just tackle the deer?
I don't know.
I don't know. What's he gonna do?
They run it down. Yeah.
He's just
they do flips to take
Tyrion
down
will just
deer,
hop
right?
on it and ride it.
Yeah, I mean, he's just going. He probably has like a sack of wine and a book with him. He doesn't give a shit about it all.
Yeah, that's a good call.
The king's
Hey.
probably like, Tyrion, you're coming.
I'm just
I
saying,
mean,
like,
he's
if
probably just
Jaime-
chugging wine
if
with
Jaime and
fucking Robert
Cersei
the
are
whole
allowed
time.
to stay back. It just things that I would have thought
Yeah.
that Tyrion would have stayed back too.
Yeah,
Uh,
sure. Or like go to
Yeah.
go fuck somebody.
But those are the people that we know that are going on the hunt, and it makes Bran think about Jon Snow because he's the person who wasn't allowed to go on the hunt, so he was kind of stuck back like Bran. And Jon's saying that or Bran doesn't say that he doesn't know why Jon's all mopey because he thinks that going to the wall is just as cool as going south.
Which is an asinine comment by young
By
Bran.
Bran, I mean he's 7, so he doesn't know, but yeah,
Yeah, he just thinks it's glorious, you know.
he just
Bunch
wants to
of
fight.
glory
Hey,
going.
just ease off the spoilers there, because to me it still sounds a little prestigious, right?
What, the
I
Night's
mean,
Watch?
yeah, it's supposed to be.
Like
but
if you don't know,
It's honorable.
just think about going
like-
to
well,
a
hang
sheet of ice.
yeah. But
and
the
other main thing is that, like, we saw that one guy got his head cut off because he deserted from the Night's Watch. It's like once you're there, you're there. It's like they're going south. Bran's
Your
about to
life
go
is
south.
over.
He can go back and come back north if he wants to later. Jon is going to the wall, and he's like at the wall now for good.
I know, but what I'm saying though is, so like he obviously thinks really high of the King's Guard. So like these people like give their life to servitude and
Yeah, it's the same type of
protecting
thing.
I mean, to him, that's what I understand what you're saying. Like it's a shitty place, and you shouldn't want to go to this ice wall. Like I get it,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
It's just the shittier version of
for
being King's
him,
Guard.
like he's like, oh shit, he's gonna go train to be this guard and like be pretty awesome.
I think
Valid
George
point.
probably uses the like naivety of how like Bran being 7 years old and not quite understanding that to kind of trick new readers into not realizing like what the wall really is early on too. Kind of like what you just said with the spoilers thing.
Yeah, Jeff, way to spoil it.
Also, do they describe the Kingsguard? In this?
Yeah,
Like,
no,
I
you
know
do.
they describe specific Kingsguard members. Do they describe like the Kingsguard in general in this chapter?
yes.
Kind
yeah, I
of.
think so.
the
Not
two of them.
Like what they wear?
yeah, all white.
So that's an interesting thing, like comparison that Kyle made. I don't want to bring that up, but the Night's Watch we're all
It's
black,
all black. Yeah, I did
and
know
the
that.
Kingsguard we're all white, and they basically have the exact same vows. It's like a lifelong.
Yeah, no
commitment. You give
kids.
up everything else.
No wives.
I never thought of that.
Yeah, they're like kind of meant to
Kingsguard
marry
all
each
white.
other.
Yeah. Well,
It's-
and technically the wall, you don't serve the king. You're serving
Yeah,
the wall,
yeah.
The realm.
the realm. Same thing.
Yeah.
Come on, get your words right. So Bran starts talking about how he's gonna be a Knight's Guard, right?
Well, he talks about that's what he wants. He says that he's excited to go south because the one thing he's all geeked up about is he's gonna get to ride a real horse like on the way south. And the other main thing is he's gonna get to meet all the like Kingsguard that are like there now, all the great knights. And this is when he starts listing off, like some of the Kingsguard people.
So I had a question about this. So like, are some of these people are older, Like in the
Mhm.
sense of like they're not active Kingsguard anymore.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, some of them are either older or dead.
Yeah, like
You
the
don't really know.
stories. Okay. No, that's plenty of explanation. I just was
Uh,
couldn't
some-
tell the tense. Go ahead.
So the only 3 that I recognized right off the bat, I mean, I looked these guys up, but the only 3 that I recognized right off the bat were the last 3. So Gerald Hightower, Sir Arthur Dane, and Sir Barristan Stelmy. Sir Barristan Stelmy is active. He's the only active one, and Bran says that a little bit later. That
Yeah.
old man says he's the best current fighter in the kingdoms.
Greatest living knight.
And Sir
Yes.
Gerald and Sir Hightower, I know, served for the previous king, the guy who was overthrown.
Well, yeah, and then
And we heard about Sir Arthur Dane in one of the earlier chapters too.
what did we hear about him?
That he was the brother of the lady that there was rumors that was John's mom.
Okay.
That was a Chardane, and this guy was her brother, and he was like the best fighter. People said that he was like the best fighter in the kingdoms at that time.
Okay.
And I know that he and Gerald Hightower served under the last king at the same time. Like they served together. But I don't actually know much more than that about any of them. I looked up stuff about the older guys. I don't know if they talk about them either. Nothing like super interesting in the history. The 2 brothers were brothers who ended up fighting on opposite sides in like some civil war.
The Dance,
Dance of
of
Dragons.
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 Yeah. And the first guy, Serwyn of the Mirror Shield, he's just like kind of, people say he was in the Kingsguard, but he's also from the Age of Heroes, meaning he's from before there were Maesters, which is before the Dragon Lords came over. And we know when the Dragon Lords came over, they're the ones who set up the Kingsguard. So people always say this guy's a Kingsguard, but they also acknowledge he's from before there were Kingsguard, so it doesn't really make sense. But
Maybe he's like the model for the rest of them.
I think he's kind of like a Paul Bunyan type guy. Yeah, like a fairy tale, like an accepted myth as like an idol to kind of like what you
Live
said.
by.
Yeah. Maybe Paul Bunyan's a bad idea. I don't know if people live to be Paul Bunyan.
Like Jesus.
Yeah, Jesus. Sure, Jesus. He's the Jesus of the Kingsguard.
Okay.
So there's 2 Kingsguard that they brought with them. Well, actually 3, but Bran says that Jaime Lannister shouldn't count because was the
He
quote?
killed the Mad
old
King.
Mad King. Yeah. Well, he says that Robb says he shouldn't count because he killed the old Mad King. But the other 2 are Sir Boros Blunt and Sir Meryn Trant. So we know those 2 are active members, and Sir Barristan and Jaime are active members. So those are 4 we know. Does he say anything specific about Meryn Trant and Boros Blunt?
He says one has a rust-colored beard and
Droopy eyes and
Sir
Boris.
Meryn.
Boros
Yeah,
says
Sir
bald guy. Let's
he's
go. One
jowly.
up for the bald dudes. Yeah, which
Barris is the
jowly?
bald guy.
That's,
Jowly is like
that's like
jiggly,
a bulldog kind
Right?
of, you know, like the
Yeah.
well, like the loose.
like a bulldog.
You got a
Jowly
droopy
is
face. Yeah, those are your
yeah.
jowls.
He's probably
All right,
pretty.
well,
he's probably older.
One up for the bald guys. I don't care.
Into the cooler part of it, we talk about the direwolves.
Yeah, so Bran says he's gonna go say his goodbyes. He wants to say his goodbyes to Hodor, Old Nan. Hodor's a stable boy who's simple-minded. Old Nan's a lady who tells him stories. Gage is the cook. Micken is the guy who works the ford, and then some guy in the Glass Gardens who gives out berries.
And he just can't do it. He's too sad.
Yeah, he goes and cries when he goes and say goodbye
Who
to
does
his
he
pony.
see?
He goes
Oh,
to say
his
goodbye to his
fucking
pony,
pony.
and cries because he realizes he's riding a horse and it's not going to be his pony anymore.
It's
And he
not
runs
my
away.
pony.
He's growing
sees
up.
him.
He's
What a-
crying
what a
because he
child.
realizes he's growing up.
What a
What a
bitch.
child.
Yeah, so then he goes to the God's Wood to
7-year-old.
try and teach his wolf how to play fetch, and his wolf still doesn't have a name. It's the only one that doesn't have a name. He tells us the name of everybody else's in this chapter.
Which is weird. We're thinking, like, how long's it been since he's had this wolf? I'm going
Nelson.
at least
Let me check.
2 or 3 weeks.
Nelson hit the
Nah,
timeline.
I think it's longer than that.
Nelson's
All
got
right,
the timeline.
longer than that. That's even weirder that he doesn't have the name for his fucking
He
wolf.
said he tried hundreds of names and they just didn't fit.
It's been
Well,
like 2 months.
Try harder, Bran, you freak.
Over 2 months.
Alright, well, he's a fool then.
Well, he
2
doesn't want to
moons.
name like Shaggy Dude.
You can't find a dog's name in 2 moons.
2 moons. So yeah, let's say what are all the wolves' names?
Shaggy Dog.
Shaggy Dog is
Grey
little,
Wind.
is little Ricketts.
Nymeria.
Ricket. Grey Wind is Rob's. Nymeria is
No.
Arya's. Yes.
and
Lady.
Lady
And
is
Ghost.
Sansa's, and Ghost is Johnson. Bran says he wished he thought of Ghost name because he said it's an awesome name,
Even though it's not white.
even though his isn't white. So
Trivia
he says,
question, Kyle. Why is Greywind named Greywind?
Because he's fast and gray, I'm assuming.
I think that's probably what they said in this
Yes,
chapter.
good job.
Oh, shit.
So he's trying to play fetch with his wolf, but his wolf is just like not doing it. He says his wolf's super smart, and it seems like the wolf knows everything he's saying to him, but he just doesn't want to play fetch.
Yeah,
So
because
Bran's
he's
like,
better
"Fuck
than
you!
that.
I'm gonna go." He's like, "Fuck you! I'm gonna go climbing." So Bran
But-
runs through the Godswood, but he avoids the Godswood tree because he's afraid of it. Because he says trees shouldn't have faces and leaves shouldn't look like hands. And then he goes and he starts climbing the tree, and his wolf's barking at him. He tells his wolf to shut up, and he keeps climbing the tree. And then he jumps from the tree onto a roof.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, this kid's fucking badass,
Yeah,
by the
he
way.
is. He's like a little spider.
Yeah, I mean, it is crazy
He
when you
was
think about
badass.
he's doing like parkour shit.
Damn.
I think he's about to get fucked up for the rest of his life here.
too soon. So he climbs on the roof and he jumps on the he's on the armory roof. And he says he likes being up there because he can see everything nobody else sees. And he says he knows a couple secrets that he thinks that even Maester Lewin doesn't know.
Nobody looks up to.
He says nobody ever looks up.
He's got a point. I mean, I'm sure that's pretty awesome.
I mean, it works in video games, right? I feel like if in a video game you can just like a Spider-Man video game, you just hide in the
Assassin's Creed.
ceiling, nobody sees you.
Yeah.
You know?
Why wouldn't you pick Assassin's Creed, the
I
one where
was
you
about to say
literally
Assassin's
climb
Assassin's Creed,
all
the same
the
thing. You
roofs,
can be like
You're on rooftops, running over top of people.
exactly.
Mm.
That's Bran.
Nelson's a fool.
Spider-Man does the same thing. He's on roofs.
He's got webs. He doesn't climb shit. He
Bran.
just sticks to shit.
So the other thing he says is he climbs without shoes on because it feels like he can be like a monkey and like grab the.
Yeah, he's got 4 hands.
Which is absolutely insane.
I didn't.
He
He said it
remember
feels
that
like he
part.
has
That's
4
fucking
hands.
crazy.
Yeah.
There's no way, unless you got freakishly long toes, that it helps you at all while scaling.
I disagree. I think that's why they wear those super rubbery, like loose shoes. 'cause I
Yeah,
think it's
rubbery
kinda-
with friction and
But he didn't have rubber shoes.
I
Back
know
then. He
that's what
probably
I'm
had
saying.
leather
If
shoes.
he would have had like some
otherwise or
Skechers, he would
something,
have not been going barefoot. But he didn't have a bunch of shoes. on.
Skechers.
So what's the what happened with his? He promises his Catelyn he's not gonna climb. Right?
He does it for like 2 weeks or something.
Yeah.
And he doesn't climb for 2 weeks, and he said he hates every day. Then he does it, and then he tells his dad or something, and he's
his
like,
punishment
hang out by the tree for all night.
overnight. This is crazy. He's 7 years old, and his punishment is you have to stay in the woods overnight.
Next to that tree you hate. Let's
to
go.
Dude, that's a ridiculous punishment for a 7-year-old.
Didn't Ned say something else though about Bran? Like, all right, like fuck.
Well,
it.
So when
after
he-
that,
so
no, they
yeah,
find
they
him, the
find
next
him in the
day.
tree.
Yeah.
Oh, he
Next
falls
morning.
asleep in the tree.
Yeah, when they
Right.
come to get him, he had fallen asleep up on the top, so he comes down and he says, "Okay, if you're gonna climb, don't let your mom see." And then he said that made it even more fun because then guards would chase him because his mom just had the guards chase him because she knew she couldn't tell him not to anymore because of Ned. So the guards would chase him. He said nobody was as fast as him, so it was even better.
I mean, just think about how he's describing how he's climbing. There's no way that the guards can even come close to what he's doing.
yeah, I know. Yeah, I just picture
He's
He's
like
like
badass
monkey, monkey barring from the gargoyles and shit,
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
doing
Jumping roof
like
gaps.
leg
like, fuck
ups.
that.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm just gonna stick my foot here and I'll pull the rest of my body up. And
yeah.
shut up, Bran.
Freak.
Got the upper body strength of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, so the only other thing that happens is old Nan starts telling him stories about kids who fell, probably because Kat told her to, and then Maester
Well,
Lewin
that's exactly.
throws the dummy.
Yeah,
was made
he's
of,
not
like,
made
pottery.
of clay.
And Bran's just like, that doesn't mean anything because I'm not made of pottery. Plus, I never fall. So then he just like runs away and climbs away, just like a little boss.
Spider monkey.
So then they talk about the tower that Bran's about to go climb. It's his favorite tower because it's called the Broken Tower because it got struck by lightning a long, long time ago, and the first like third of it like burned away. So nobody's been able to to be in the top
With
third
Cheryl
of this tower
Sheashed.
in forever. What?
It's gonna be Shishir?
My she shed. Somebody
Someone
burnt my
burned down my
she
she
shed.
shed. It was
Everybody
struck by
burnt your
lightning.
she shed.
I don't know
My
what you guys
she
are
shed
talking
covered.
about.
All right.
It's an Allstate commercial, I think, or Progressive, one of the two.
Okay, well, Bran likes it because nobody can get to the top third of this tower except for him. So he's the only person that can get up here.
Him and the crows.
Him and the crows. So he's
Mhm.
going to feed the crows. And he gets there and hears people talking, and he doesn't know who
Well,
it
he
is right
doesn't
away.
actually get there yet, though, right? He's on the keep still, which is like part of the old castle. not the tower.
Yeah. So what? He climbs the top of that and then gets to the broken tower by monkey barring
gargoyling, and then he can. Once he gets to the last one, he can swing over to the window of the broken tower.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess what I'm saying is like, didn't he hear these people in the keep, not on the tower? Okay.
Oh, I thought he heard him on the tower.
No, I'm pretty sure.
I think they did that in the show.
They did do that in the show.
But in here, it's like the first keep had been empty all his life, and then he's hearing these people come out of it or talking out of it.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And he's talking about hanging from the gargoyle later, which you mentioned on the keep.
Upside down, mind you.
Yeah.
He's a freak.
By his fucking legs, yeah. That sounds intense.
So he doesn't know who it is right away. He finds out at the end, but we know now, having read, that it is Cersei and Jaime. Kyle, thoughts?
Well, that was one of the few, not one of the few things, but that was definitely like one of the chapters I knew going in, like pretty much word for word what was going to happen. Once I knew he was climbing, I knew he was going to fall, and
that's
I knew he caught.
You know.
I knew he caught the incense. I know that was like one of the big TV moments. Well, and like I know that he becomes in the show. I know he's Bran the Broken at the end and shit. Like obviously he was gonna. They built up this climbing shit like way too much. There was no way that this wasn't the event that was going to lead to him.
Yeah, because I knew you had seen the last season, or like parts of the last season, but I didn't know if you knew enough to know what caused Bran to be broken.
Yeah.
So
I think the first season and the last season are probably the two that I know the most about.
Good
for what that's worth. Because everybody was talking about it up front, and then yeah.
So next we get this dialogue between Cersei and Jaime, and during this dialogue, there's a lot of like. Bran was holding onto this edge and he heard this, and then his foot was shaking, so he shimmied over and he climbed on the roof and he goes and he hangs upside down underneath the gargoyle. I've edited that out, and I'm gonna have Jeff and Glow read the parts. Glow's gonna be Cersei and Jeff's gonna be Jaime, and we're just gonna have that. We're gonna have them do the dialogue, just those two characters, and then we'll.
This
will
be like reading a page out of Jeff's diary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
No.
Do you guys have the thing I sent you?
Yeah, I got it up.
Yes, I do. I do not like it. You should be the hand.
God forbid. It's not an honor I'd want. There's far too much work involved.
Don't you see this danger this puts us in? Robert loves that man like a brother.
Robert can barely stomach his brothers. Not that I blame him. Stannis would be enough to give anyone indigestion.
Don't play the fool. Stannis and Renly are one thing, and Eddard Stark is quite another. Robert would listen to Stark. Damn them both. I should have insisted that he name you, but I was certain Stark would refuse him.
We ought to count ourselves fortunate. The king might as easily have named one of his brothers, or even Littlefinger, God help us. Give me honorable enemies rather than ambitious ones, and I'll sleep more easily by night.
Let's stop there. Let's talk about this first part real quick.
Okay.
That was good. Good job.
Thanks.
I like how much Glow is getting into it. Jeff, I could use a little more out of you.
Yeah, we need more out of you, bro.
Sorry.
Kyle, what did you get out of what they just said, besides humor?
Well, I mean, obviously, there's a bunch of plotting going on here.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
The two people. I know. Well, all right. So, like, I mean, Cersei, right? And that's who this is, obviously, is she's obviously trying to get Jaime into a position of power. And he is kind of like not too pumped about it, it sounds like. Like he was like, we probably shouldn't
like he's kind of
get involved in
it.
Yeah, like we shouldn't get involved. This should just play itself out.
Just time out quick. Would he even be able to accept that position?
What, hand? Yeah, there's been people in the Kingsguard who served his hand too. You can do both.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, no, like it's like, and then pretty much they talk about all these other people that could have taken a role. Littlefinger, I've heard his name before, and I know people don't like him. I don't know the reasons. I just know he's a bastard. This kind of reinforces that.
Yeah, you don't mean Game of Thrones bastard. You mean
no, yeah, like an asshole jerk,
like a bastard.
So the one thing that
conniving bastard.
One thing that I see here that's like a question for everybody is, Cersei says, "I should have insisted that he name you, but I was certain Stark would refuse him."
Which Stark almost did. So I mean, I feel like she knew what she was talking about.
Yeah. So, and she gets into it later. She like would have. Stark was probably gonna refuse him, except for that letter from Lysa Arryn, and she starts talking bad on Lysa Arryn later. So we'll save that for there. But Uh,
Well, yes and no. I think
this seems like
Catelyn would have talked him into it either
you
way.
think okay. So
I
here,
think that
when she says
was
I should have insisted that he name you, if that's the case, that would have been like way before they even came north. They never would have come north if there was no reason to name Ned Hand. So Cersei would have done that like in King's Landing. Does Cersei have that kind of sway over the king? It doesn't seem like she has much
Mm.
power.
I mean, she's the queen.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I mean,
you think
She
she
definitely-
you think she can do that? Like it seems like Robert doesn't really. I don't know.
I think it's she could have put it out there and insisted, like she said, like I think that's kind of why Jamie probably didn't want a part of it because he knew it was going to be a big thing.
Like it could have happened if she suggested it.
Yeah. Well, no, just like it would have been a big ordeal of like public. I'm sure it would have been massive, like a blow up between the two of them if she insisted that it was him or something, you know?
That's what I'm saying. Like I don't know if she even has that power. What Jeff Glow? What do you guys think? Do you guys think that she actually
Yes.
could do? Do you think she could pull that off
I think
before the book
Yes.
starts? She could prevent Robert from coming here and name Jamie instead.
are you saying like
No, I don't think so.
now?
Like, does
what
she
I
have
know
that
now-
power? Yeah. Like, do you think she has that power
Yes.
over Robert?
Yes.
No shot.
Robert doesn't want the fight. He fucking gives in to her all the time.
Yeah, but this is
he doesn't
this
really
is a big...
even like her.
No, I think you're fine. You're fine. This is just like
He doesn't even like her.
Yeah, I mean, but like to their points,
I mean,
like
I
they
got
do
that
have a
from the
big.
last, yeah.
I don't know. I feel
mean,
like
we don't really know how much. Like, is she in the? I mean, what's their like the group called?
Like I
You know what
think
I mean?
I always
When all the
assume that like
people
the
are
queen
there.
has the kind of power where like she can do whatever the fuck she wants. She's in
No
charge of everybody,
way.
except
Yes.
if it's like the iRobot thing. Like one, you can never disobey an order from your master, right? She can never disobey an order from Robert. Two, you can't ever like conflict with
I don't
one of
think
his
so.
things that he's
No,
doing.
no, because like just look at what Catelyn just did to Ned. I mean, she just talked him into going.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
that-
different
I
cats,
totally
different
agree.
people.
I totally
understand.
agree.
We're
I
talking
understand,
about.
but I mean, like, it's
That's a
still,
That's a good
they're
point.
Still,
Yeah, that's a good point.
We're
There's
talking
still-
about honorable Ned versus a king who has said that all he wants to do is drink and fuck, and that's all he cares about. And he doesn't, he's not the honorable guy. He
I
doesn't
mean, I
love
guess
his
that-
wife.
that-
He
that
used
kinda-
it to have kids.
What you just said, the whole
I-
fact that he doesn't give a fuck and all he wants to do is drink and fuck, makes me think that maybe if she brought it
He
to him,
thinks
he
she
would
could
just
Still,
be
yeah,
like,
do it.
he'd be like,
No,
all right,
but-
fine, now I don't have to go north.
But he's also
Yeah.
hasn't he said like, oh, fuck the Lannisters, pretty much. Like he doesn't want both of them to have like powerful, like Queen
I don't
and
think
Hand.
he cares, right?
and
He
then-
said, didn't he
and
say
then
he was gonna
Tywin?
make? I don't know, man.
He's definitely said like in the Ned chapter, like fuck the Lannisters, like
Yeah, he does say
He said something about
that.
like, yeah, you don't sleep with one when they start talking bad on the Lannisters.
exactly. So why would he want not only to be sleeping with one, but one to be running the country while he whores and
No, I think he's
drinks
saying
his
you
way?
don't sleep with one. Like, you don't have to make one happy. So, like, that's saying,
Exactly.
like, I
Yeah,
need to
he
make
has
her
to
happy
kinda
at
do
all
what she wants.
times.
Yeah, I guess.
So I
yeah.
gotta listen to her. Like, I mean, I think it's I agree both
I
ways.
think Glow and
I
Kyle are
guess.
swaying me the longer I think about it.
Woo!
I don't.
But alright,
I don't
Kyle,
think
take
it's a
off your headset real quick.
guaranteed-
You
I don't
guys
think it's
are
a guarantee.
fools.
Hang on. I will then. But I don't think it's guaranteed that he
Bro,
can
we
talk her
can't
into
just
it.
drop spoilers. There's people that listen to this.
All right. Well, then we'll wait. But,
All right,
like,
I'm
so I-
dropping
save
a
it, Glow.
poll.
Just say
Like I
it.
said,
Glow.
I don't think it's guaranteed. I just think it's a potential that she could. This would be a discussion longer than like no, fuck you.
Yeah,
and
that's
the
why.
end of
That's
it.
why I brought it up because I think it's probably close. Whether she
Time
could
for a
pull this off.
Twitter poll.
All right.
Leia was a tomboy, and where's your cross stitch,
Yeah, Jeff.
Jeff?
How's
Let's see the
cross-
progress on your
Yeah.
cross
Oh
stitch.
yeah. Do we have the cross stitching YouTube video yet?
Nobody bought it for me. I'm waiting for the delivery.
Jeff will have a
Okay.
cross stitch at Christmas. That's gonna be what I get him for Christmas.
All right, Glow, pick back up. Are we good,
Yep,
Nels?
yep, we're good. You guys can keep going.
We will have to watch him carefully.
I would sooner watch you. Come back here.
Woo! Lord Eddard Lord Eddard has never taken an interest in anything that happens south of the neck. Never, I tell you. He means to move against us. Why else would he leave his seat of power?
100 reasons. Duty, honor. He yearns to write his name large across the book of history. To get away from his wife, or both. Perhaps he just wants to be warm for once in his life.
His wife is Lady Aaron's sister. It's a wonder Lysa was not here to greet us with her accusations.
You fret too much. Lysa Arryn is a frightened cow.
That frightened cow shared John Arryn's bed.
If she knew anything, she would have gone to Robert before she fled King's Landing.
When he had already agreed to foster that weakling son of hers at Casterly Rock? I think not. She knew the boy's life would be hostage to her silence. She may grow bolder now that he's safe atop the Eyrie.
Mothers, I think birthing does something to your minds. You are all mad. Let Lady Arryn go as bold as she likes. Whatever she knows, whatever she thinks she knows. She has no proof. Or does she?
Do you think the king will require proof? I tell you, he loves me not.
All right, hold up.
So,
All right. Go ahead, Kyle.
I was gonna say, so that plays into the whole maybe she didn't have sway with him. He loves me not.
Yeah. that's kind of, I think, why I was thinking that goes from later on in this. But let's go to the beginning of that, what they started saying, what you guys were saying. It says that they think that he's directly going against them. He says he's never taken any interest south of the neck. He means to move against us. I tell you, he means to move against us. They think that he's going to attack them. Like, how much could he do alone?
At the very least, push them out of power. Like, to break
like,
up the marriage and, like, all that, I guess, is, I think, what their super paranoid thinking is.
Okay. So then they say, they start talking about Lady Arryn, which was something that I said the first section. So they're suspicious that Lady Arryn knows something that she shouldn't know, which we know she does because she sends the message to Kat saying that Cersei is the one behind Jon Arryn's death. And they say that the reason that they weren't afraid that she would go to Robert was because her son had been offered to foster at Castle Rock. You know what I mean? That doesn't make any sense to me. They had suggested that her son be fostered at Castle Rock, and for some reason that made it so that when this scandal came out, like if they found, like when she finds out that Cersei is the one behind Jon Arryn's death, she can't go to Robert about it.
So what's Casterly Rock?
She's saying because he agreed to allow him to be fostered at Casterly Rock. That's why she wouldn't go to Robert.
But the boy wasn't already there. Oh, but he knew that Robert was like on their side?
Yes. Okay. And it's saying if he went to Casterly Rock, I can't say it, Casterly.
Yeah, there we go. Casterly Rock.
His life would have been hostage to her silence. So like she would have had to stay quiet if he was still in.
But I assume that if she came to Robert with this and Robert believed it, what she was saying, that he wouldn't continue to give her son to the Lannisters. You know what I mean?
So Casterly Rock, let me start there.
It's like Winterfell for the Lannisters. It's like their house seat.
The Rock.
So we learned in the earlier chapter, I think, when Ned was down in the crypts with Robert, that they were going to foster, so send Jon Arryn's son, Jon Arryn and Lysa Arryn, their son, to foster with Jaime and Cersei's dad at Castle Rock.
So she wouldn't have sent her kid to live with the Lannisters if she thought the Lannisters had anything to do with it.
Yeah, so Robert had agreed to that. I'm pretty sure Robert had agreed to that he was going to go foster, but he hadn't yet. Like, he hadn't gone to Castle Rock yet. If he had, I understand what they're saying here, and that Lady Arryn wouldn't have gone to Robert because even if Robert wanted to do something, they have Lady Arryn's kid, and she wouldn't want him to be at risk.
I don't even think it's that. I think it's just that like she already. Okay, no, you're right. The boy's life would be hostage to her silence.
Glow's saying that just the fact that Robert agreed to foster the boy with the Lannisters proved to her that he was more on the Lannister side than her side. So she didn't know, like, if she went to him, if like he would believe her.
Well, I think even I think it's just even if he went to her, even if she went to him, all right, even if she went to him, like her kid would be with the Lannisters, so they could destroy her child.
But no, her kid's not with them yet. Her kid's still with her.
Okay, all right.
Which is why I don't get it.
Which is why we're spending too much time on this topic.
All right, you guys can keep going then.
Alrighty.
He just wants to go back to banging Glow.
And whose fault is that, sweet sister?
You are as blind as Robert.
If you mean I see the same thing, yes. I see a man who would sooner die than betray his king.
He betrayed one already, or have you forgotten? Oh, I don't deny he's loyal to Robert, that's obvious. What happens when Robert dies and Joff takes the throne? And the sooner that comes to pass, the safer we'll all be. My husband grows more restless every day. Having Stark beside him will only make him worse. He's still in love with the sister, the insipid little dead 16-year-old. How long till he decides to put me aside for some new Lyanna?
You should think less about the future and more about the pleasures at hand.
Stop that!
Bran heard a sudden slap of flesh on flesh and a man's laughter.
All this talk is getting very tiresome, sister. Come here and be quiet.
All right.
There's no way that the flesh on flesh slap happened right there.
That's what
They
it
weren't
says.
even next. They weren't even next to each
Says
other.
right
yet.
after
No, how
stop
do you know
that.
that? How do you know that?
This, I
'Cause
copied this from the
he
book.
says come. He says come here.
Yeah, I mean that could just mean like get closer, like
As they're already
yeah,
slapping flesh.
yeah. You can be kind of not far away, but you know what I'm saying.
Nah, it's
Yeah.
bad writing, George.
Well, he's never been with a woman, so let him alone.
That's Rorsch.
He's never been with a woman.
He's never listened to this. Let's be real. We'll be
The only
alright.
the only thing from this last part is Cersei says that she just can't wait for Robert to be dead. Basically, she says that everybody will be safer once Robert's dead and Joffrey takes the throne.
Okay.
Yes.
That's the only thing I wanted to point out from that last.
It's 'cause
little
she
section.
hates
Which sentence was that? Because I
It's one of the beginning of Cersei's things. He betrayed one already, or have you forgotten? Oh, I don't deny he's loyal to Robert. That's obvious. But what happens when Robert dies and Joff takes the throne? And the sooner that comes to pass, the safer we'll all be.
okay. The safer, yeah,
So not that she's like actively
yeah,
going for it,
trying.
but like
yeah.
just like when that happens, that's when we'll be good. That's the end of the chapter. Well,
No,
of course,
you skip, you
Of
skip
course.
like the important part.
of
the
course,
chapter.
Bran falls.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
done.
Bran falls, dies.
Well, we've been
almost
talking about that
dies,
the whole
yeah.
time. So
Yeah.
first off, there's a part in this chapter when
He
Bran is like
fucking
hanging
pushed
somewhere.
him. He pushed
He's-
him off the windowsill. Like you didn't mention that
I
yet.
know. Listen, there's a
Like-
part where during that dialogue, there's a part where Bran's hanging somewhere, and he's like above a window, and he's like, the ledge below me is too small for me to let go and land on
Yeah.
my feet, but I might be able to let go and
Yeah,
grab it
yeah.
with my hands. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
Jesus Christ, like that is some Assassin's Creed shit. Like, who the fuck do you think you are, Bran?
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
No
I
way
mean-
you pull that off.
Yeah.
Except he basically does pull it off at the end of this chapter, because when he
He
falls,
does. No, he does.
Yeah, no, he
just makes
did.
a noise.
and he did a 180 because he's upside down. So he's sitting on this thing, pinched it with his legs, spins upside down, and is pulling a Spider-Man, looking at him.
And flips.
Falls, flips, and grabs the ledge, misses, comes back, grabs it with the other hand.
He's a freak.
Jamie pulls him up,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Cersei's like, "What are you doing?" And then he just pushes him.
Yeah, he just
He
fucking
says the
straight
things
He
I do
asked
for
how
love
old he
and
is.
pushes him.
I think
he
he asked
shoves
how
him in
old
the
he is.
chest. Yeah, well, yeah, he asks him how old he is. He says 7, and then he fucking says the things I do for love, and just
That's fucked up, man.
yeah, yeah, oh yeah, he fucking looked him in the eyes and pushed him out of the window.
Cold bastard.
Screaming, Bran went backward out the window into empty air. There was nothing to grab onto. The courtyard
Hmm.
rushed up to meet him. Somewhere off in the distance, a wolf was howling. Crows circled the broken tower, waiting.
His
for
wolf
warning.
knew. His wolf knew. That's all I gotta say.
I think that's why I always think that it's in the broken tower, because when he falls, it says crows circled the broken tower, waiting for.
'Cause
corn.
that's
But
where
I
he
guess
was
it doesn't
heading.
mean. I
That
guess
was
it
where
doesn't
he
mean
was
that's where he
going.
was. It could have just been
No,
nearby.
that's where he was going. It's right next door. He was
Yeah,
at like
I
the
mean,
last
you're-
gargoyle before the
show
broken tower.
fucked us up because they do it in the broken tower.
Yeah, show, you fucked up.
You done fucked it up.
You done fucked up, Ron.
All right,
D&D.
Kyle. Any predictions?
Bran can't walk.
It's
Oh,
very
so
Solid prediction.
So here's another thing I do know from the show, I guess, about Bran and his being able to see through the ravens. I thought this kind of tied a lot into that. I don't
Okay.
know like the specifics and all that. He wargs, I guess is the word, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a word, yes.
So
That's a Game of Thrones word.
That is a word.
yeah. So I mean,
don't
if you
know.
don't want me to talk about any of this yet, I don't have to because I don't want to spoil it for
I would
others.
say don't just
but-
put out predictions
I
that you
ain't
already
saying
know,
shit.
but when we get to something like that, that would be a shocker. Be like, oh, I already know this, like you did today when we got to this part.
And
What?
ruined everything.
I thought
Yeah, thanks
like
for
that was a
ruining it.
given though. Like everybody knew Bran the Broken.
Nelson was talking this chapter up like, oh my god, Kyle's gonna be like, oh my god.
I didn't know if he knew it or not.
Nelson, I'm not gonna be like that about any chapter. I'm gonna throw that out
I know
there.
you get super
But-
excited about stuff all the time.
Yeah, you picked the least emotional person to be
You're the
the
color
sup-
commentary.
yeah.
Or the statistical commentary, I guess. All right, how long have we been going? Damn. All right, well, we'll say goodbye to Kyle, and then we'll do the spoiler portion.
All right,
Bye
Kyle.
now, Cal.
Bye, Kyle.
See you, Kyle.
Later, dudes.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! See you later, Kyle. We'll see you on the next episode. And here we go to the spoiler section of brand number 2. What hot topics you got over here, Nelson?
So the only few notes I have here are one, I'm probably taking a note off your list. When Bran starts to first off, when Bran's running through the Godswood, he's afraid of the heart tree because of the face and the hands of the leaves. I mean, is it irony? I'm not a
Yeah, it's gotta be ironic there.
literary guy, but I'm pretty sure
Do
that's
you
called
think when
irony.
he? Do you think when he looks into the
scared of
tree,
himself.
he's actually like seeing, like, the three-eyed raven, or he's looking back and like, when you when people like, let's just think of Back to the Future, and like someone yells and they're like, or I guess like even when Ned like hears
He doesn't
Bran,
say he
like,
hears
you
anything,
think
does he? He just says he doesn't like it.
No, but he's like afraid. So like, it's like kind of like when you're in a dark hallway, or like you're running up the stairs and it's dark. Like, there's nothing there, but you can just feel like something's about to grab
Does
you.
Bran like?
Or you got the sense that something's looking at
Granted,
you.
Bran hasn't had his powers for long in the books, but has he ever seen himself? Like, you know how in all the time travel movies are always like, don't go back and mess with your former self or you fuck everything up.
Right.
Does Bran ever see himself when he goes back and see visions and shit?
Not.
They never
I mean,
talk about it.
Yeah, we don't. I don't think we see it in the
Maybe
book. In the show,
it helps
I don't
that
think it happened.
Bran, when he was a kid, avoided weirwood trees, so that when he's in the future looking at a weirwood trees, he just sees himself less, so he has that problem less. I don't know if that's intended at all, but it's probably what's happening.
I don't think it would affect Bran once he
I
gets
just
his powers.
thought it was weird that when Bran like had a mental note that he was afraid of the tree that later becomes like the source of all his power. Next thing was when he goes to climb the tree and the wolf starts howling at him.
Yeah, that's a little weird. I don't know what's going on.
It's like when
there.
Grey Wind when Grey Wind barks near the Freys and near the Westerlings and all that shit. Like, doesn't like any of those people.
Yeah, they just
sense
know
danger.
something
Do you think
bad.
they sense danger, or
they
they
just
can
know
just know the
They
future.
just know if people are fucked up or not.
But here's the other
Even
thing,
though it's
like,
not people. That's
let's say that the three-eyed raven could control or like warg into the dire wolves a little bit too and control them there. He wants Bran to become the three-eyed raven.
Yeah, so he wouldn't want to prevent
If
it.
anything, he should be like, hey, go up there, go up there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so that's where I'm a little confused. I'm not really sure what happened there.
Yeah, so then
I think the wolves. I mean, but they can get warged into, right? They've been warged.
What, the wolves?
By
Bran. By other than the Stark children.
No, I don't think so.
Not that we know of.
Maybe then they're like really powerful, like, and
just have premonition skills.
Yeah.
I feel you there. That's all I can think of. They can sense danger.
I'm trying to find the quote for him with 2 legs or 4 feet and 2. You know what I mean? Like he climbed on the barefoot.
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Because that.
I feel like there was another quote that I read that was like, that was a funny call to what's gonna happen in the future.
Well, like the one thing, Bran's like really familiar and friendly with the crows.
Yeah, so he says he likes being up on top of the roof because it makes him invisible and like he can see everything that's going on and nobody can see him, which is what happens in the future, right? He gets that power, he can see shit, and people don't know he's there. And then the other thing, with I can't find the quote right now, but the thing where it says he liked because he felt like he had 4 feet instead of 2, that like made me think of him warging Summer all the time and how he loves running around.
At one point, it also says that he's good with history.
He's good with what?
Or like he's like really good with history. He like kept bringing up all these like old facts and shit, which is like an allusion to what he's gonna become. At this time, he knows more secrets about Winterfell, and it's like alluding to him knowing more secrets in the future almost.
I found the quote, Nelson. You want me to read it?
Yeah.
He liked how it felt, too, pulling himself up a wall stone by stone, fingers and toes digging hard into the small crevices between. He always took off his boots and went barefoot when he climbed. It made him feel as if he had 4 hands instead of 2. He liked the deep sweat ache in the left and the muscles afterward. He liked the way the air tasted way up high. Do you need
I
me
think
to keep going?
yeah, that's
That was
good.
it?
Just like that, just kind of gives me like a vision of when he has like because later on a lot of the Bran chapters start off like in Summer's body. It's like he stood on the top of a ridge looking down at the shadowed figures moving from left to right or something like that, and you're like, is this Summer or is this Bran?
Right.
And you find out it's Bran. He's like, he loved the way that his muscles felt when he ran through the snow and the way his feet clawed off the roots and stuff like that. It just reminds me a lot of that, and I feel like it's probably foreshadowing for it. So the reason I was going so in depth in that last like dialogue with Kyle is because there's a ton of shit in there. So Jeff, you're the one that was like getting bored by it. I want you to explain to me right now Littlefinger's plan up to this point.
But we weren't talking about Littlefinger's plan.
This is all I know. I'm not gonna tell Kyle that it's
No
his
shit.
Littlefinger's plan, but this is all Littlefinger's plan.
Well, I mean, I think Littlefinger's really.
First off, think about it this way: what if Littlefinger is the one that suggests to foster Sweet Robin?
Wouldn't surprise
Like
me.
we don't have any evidence of that. But if it's true,
maybe he doesn't.
he single-handedly
might.
did all this because the
Yeah.
fostering of Sweet Robin is step one.
But is it? I mean, I guess just to eliminate him. Will they kill him then?
Well,
Is
first
the
that makes
second-
Lysa Arryn like uneasy.
Yeah, but does Lysa? I guess she likes Robin, but she's like freakishly in love with Littlefinger too.
Yeah, like,
Would she have
over and
killed?
up.
Would she have killed John Arryn if John Arryn wasn't trying to foster Sweet Robin somewhere?
Yes, because
You
she
think
wanted
so?
to be with Littlefinger. She didn't want to be with John.
Yeah, but I feel like say you're Littlefinger and you're like, hey, go kill your husband. I'm Master Coin.
Yeah, but
everything will
he's
be
like
fine. That
giving her
doesn't work
sweet.
out.
Nah, he's giving her sweet talk in the ear, like, "Oh, I love you more."
I know,
but-
and then he says, "Hey, why don't we foster Sweet Robin?" With
yeah, because he's
Tywin?
probably like, "Look, we'll have other children. Like,
So
you can have my children."
say he suggests fostering Sweet Robin
Okay.
with Tywin. When that word gets back to Lysa, and if he can keep her from realizing that it was his idea, she's furious and she's like, "There's no way anybody's taking Sweet Robin." She's crazy about that kid. We see that later.
Yeah.
So this
All
is
of a
what-
sudden, now he's like, "Kill John Arryn, and we can get you back to the Eyrie."
So Cersei isn't really, they make it seem like Cersei's talking about, oh, what if she knows that we killed John? But really, it's what if she knows that me and you are fucking?
Exactly, because she didn't kill John.
Right.
That was the other thing. I just talked to Kyle in depth about this whole dialogue in the context of, oh, they're talking about the killing of John,
Them
not
killing,
the
which
fucking.
I think was good. Like, you set that up fine, but it just wasn't.
So, Littlefinger creates.
You got
a
hung up
situation
on one of the details. That's where
Littlefinger,
it
I
rolled
just
off.
feel like,
The note.
go back to
the note from Lysa Arryn. That's it. Lysa Arryn is everything for Littlefinger's plan early on.
Right. No,
Somehow,
she's
whether
the
he's behind-
vehicle for the chaos, which I think
Yeah.
he's just trying to create chaos. He found, all right, what can I do? Well, here's this guy who's really important with a girl that I know I can manipulate. So
Yeah.
let's start turning cogs.
Also, think about everybody who we know knows about the incest. Renly and Stannis, who said they did not tell each other. Varys, Littlefinger, Pycelle. I think Pycelle knows about the incest.
I think Tyrion knows too.
And yeah, so Tyrion. Those people, that's the small council and Tyrion. So the only people who know are the small council.
They've admitted
It's
that they
Stannis
know that
and
Jaime
Renly.
and Cersei are fucking.
What?
They each on separate occasions have said that they know, like have indicated that they know about the incest.
Not to this point.
Not at this point.
Okay.
But nobody knows except for the small council. Guess who's on the small council? Fucking Littlefinger. He's probably just literally spreading this rumor, kind of like what we said earlier, to create
Chaos.
conflict, at least conflict between between the Lannisters and the Baratheons.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I mean, I
At
think
first-
it almost plays up to his plan too. If people think that Cersei did this instead of Lysa, because now it's like, all right, well, treason. I'll get a new queen. Pretty much,
Yeah.
like that. I think that's grand scheme of things. Step one is get rid of Cersei, which would then get rid of your heirs, probably. You know what I mean?
So I'm gonna lay out what I think is Littlefinger's plan up to this point. And the first part doesn't really matter if it's him or not. The fact is it happened. The fostering of John Arryn pushes Lysa over to the edge, convinces her to flee to one, kill John Aaron so that Littlefinger can get her also back to the Eyrie, because he knows if she kills John Aaron, she's not hanging around. So kill John Aaron, get back to the Eyrie. Now there's a new hand, and they have to go get Ned Stark. Littlefinger knows it's going to be Ned Stark. Cersei knew it was going to be Ned Stark. That's what I was kind of getting at with the whole would Cersei have been able to persuade Robert thing is,
and I still say no.
It's not even about would she be able to. This means that she knew the number 1 and 2 choice are Ned and Jaime before they go north. But she's just confident that Ned's going to accept it. Right? The last thing she wants is that Ned is hand, but she allows them to go north without planting the seed, which tells me she thinks Ned is going to say no.
Right.
What makes Ned not say no? Step 2 from Littlefinger, sending that message.
Yeah,
right?
no.
He's
I
the
mean,
one that
they
convinces
needed
her.
the plan. I mean, it's probably known around the realm that Ned is like, I'm in the north. Like, that's all I really care about. Like,
Yeah, he's a warden in the north.
So why does Littlefinger want Ned in King's Landing? So far, he's worked masterfully to get Ned.
I
in
think
King's
he's
Landing.
trying to
That's what this book has been up
weaken every little section. He's trying to weaken, obviously, the King's Landing. He's trying to weaken Castle Rock. The Erie's already in his hands because he's got, Little Robin pretty much at his fingertips and Lysa. So now he's worried about, all right, if I make a move on Robert, like, Stark's going to come down with the whole North. Let's eliminate Ned.
So here's what I think. And this is, again, this isn't all
put
just
the
me.
houses
This is from
against
a lot,
each
this
other,
is from
too.
a lot of videos and stuff. Littlefinger is creating conflict between the Lannisters and basically anybody. He's just spreading the rumor to everybody on the small council. Everybody on the small council knows, including Littlefinger. So people know war is going to happen. Whenever this gets out, there's going to be a war, right? There's no way that this gets out, there's not a war.
Right.
So Littlefinger, if there's a war, what good is Littlefinger?
Not
like if say there's a war out, like when Robb attacks, what good is Littlefinger? He can't do anything. But in book 1, the war is entirely in King's Landing, and in King's Landing, he's the master of coin, which means he controls the City Watch. So in King's Landing, any conflict that takes place within King's Landing, he has 100% control. So he wants to get all the big players in King's Landing so that either A, he like has Ned Stark now as a bargaining chip, or he can partner with one of the big players and kind of do what he does, where he's like, I have the fucking gold cloaks. Whoever has me wins this fight, right? Say he takes Ned's side instead of Cersei's side. In that, at the end of the book 1, Ned wins, right? Cersei, Littlefinger is just maintaining control. If there's a battle out in the field and King's Landing's united, he's useless. But as long as the conflict is within King's Landing, he's still is powerful. Right. That has to be the only reason to get Ned down. Why else would he want Ned down? Unless you're behind the theory that he's interested in Cat. But after 5 books, I don't think we can think that he's actually interested in Cat.
I think he's grown up from Cat, and he wants to move on to bigger and better dreams.
So do you have an alternate explanation of why he wants Ned in King's Landing, besides the one I just said? That he has power if there's a conflict in King's Landing. He thinks he can.
I kind of said the same thing. Here. I mean, I think he not only are you creating conflict in King's Landing, but also weakening the North.
100% weakening the North. Jeff was right. Like, he's weakening
you think
all
Littlefinger
the big players
and
North? Putting them against each other.
I mean, I think he just
weakening it.
So he wants to be able to control everything.
I think part to what you're saying is something that Jaime says here when they're talking about that Robert could have named one of his brothers or Littlefinger hand, and Jaime says, "Gods help us, give me honorable enemies rather than ambitious ones, and I'll sleep easier by night." Which is basically how everybody feels when Ned gets to King's Landing. It's like, we know this guy's gonna play by the book. Yeah. He's like good cop all the way.
But he also
has no
said,
dirty
like,
Harry, no Batman in him. You know what I mean?
But Littlefinger's also ambitious. Like, why is Littlefinger ambitious? So he's already been making moves to try and hire his position.
The thing is, we still, after 5 books, we don't know what Littlefinger's goal is. Like, if we knew what his goal was, maybe we could see what he's doing clearer, but we don't really know what he's aiming
I mean, I think that's also, like, one of the biggest...
Is what the fuck's Littlefinger up to?
Cliffhangers right now, yeah.
He wants to be king.
Yeah, so I think this chapter, while obviously the huge part is Bran getting pushed out, I think the meat of this chapter is with this dialogue that I had you guys read, and how between
I mean that's where all the depth comes from.
Lady Aaron, John Aaron, all that shit, the fostering of Robin Aaron, how that's huge. That people bring that up so fucking much. That's been brought up in like 4 chapters out of the 8 so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
let me see if I have any other notes. I don't think I do. That's all I got. Glow, any strange wolf insight from this one?
Bran's wolf has yellow eyes. That's about it.
Same as Nymeria.
What?
You said that in the last episode, that Nymeria has yellow eyes.
Oh shit, so we have 2 wolves with yellow eyes now.
I think a lot of them have yellow eyes.
I think Shaggy Dog's is more green, if I remember correctly.
I'm sure we'll figure it out eventually. Probably don't have Lady for too many more chapters. She doesn't make it long.
Oh, that's what I was trying to say earlier.
Lady.
Fucking Robert Baratheon was just like, yeah, kill the fucking girl's wolf.
Yeah.
Cersei convinced her to do that.
Cersei argument.
Yeah. That's why I was like, yeah, Kyle, take off your headphones real quick. I was going to say that.
But that's the thing, is like that's a valid thing to do. It is a fucking huge ass wolf
That just attacked his son.
that one didn't do it, but yeah, somebody had just attacked the son.
Yeah.
Lady!
I feel like whatever Robert has any conflict at all, he's just like, fuck it. Like, do this. Like, shut up. Just go fucking do it. I don't care. Like, what'd she want? She wanted, Cersei wanted him to kill both, or
Yeah.
like beat the shit out of Arya or something like that. And
He's
just
like that
just
sugar
kill
daddy.
just kill the fucking dog and we'll move on.
He's like the sugar daddy. He's like, here's my credit card. Do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
Stop bothering me.
Yeah.
All right. That's all I got. Nothing else in this chapter. Next one, Tyrion. And then I think we got a Jon. I think we're going to the wall.
Going to the wall.
All right. Well, with that, we'll leave everybody go. Thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next time. Be sure to like us, follow us, all that fancy shit on everything. And we'll see you guys next time. Tyrion 1.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.